What is going on, folks? It is your boy A West. I am back with another reaction. Today, talking about PSG. Mauricio Pochettino has just been hired as the manager of PSG. Just got his first win over the weekend. Kylian Mbappe scored a cracker of a goal. He has begun his job. He's begun this journey, and now it's time to see where he really can take this team. I am really interested to see what he does with PSG. I have rated Mauricio Pochettino as a manager for a long time. I really rated what he did. I didn't rate it because I'm an Arsenal fan, but I was very impressed by what he did with Spurs, with the limited investment that he had at that club, the way that he kind of transformed the way that they played, the way that he brought players through and really developed them. Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli, Harry Kane, the list goes on. I hated watching it as an Arsenal supporter, but I was very impressed by what he did over there. It was interesting to me that he was let go. I thought it was a mistake by Spurs. Maybe they needed a new manager. Maybe they needed to move a little bit forward, but I thought it was a mistake. But he took his time off. There was a lot of speculation over where he was going, obviously, but he's landed at PSG. He is obviously the PSG manager. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, and that's why we're talking about it. But as PSG manager, how's he gonna do? PSG is such a weird job because it's like if you win domestic trophies, that's expected. Pochettino has never won a major trophy. He's never won a trophy as a manager. So there are both positives and negatives when you get Poch. To start with, he did get the best out of that Spurs team without much investment. You saw the marked development of those players under him, the very positive style that they played, the attractive style that they played, and they clearly had a plan that Poch wanted them to play. The way that they wanted to play was very obvious. So from that respect, it's obviously a big positive to see what he's going to bring to this team. I think in terms of probably playing like a 4-2-3-1 with very attacking tendencies, with good support around the pitch. It's probably going to be attractive. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I think players seem to like him. He seems to be a good man manager. I think that was part of the issue with Thomas Tuchel. He was caught in the media saying a few things that he said were mistranslated, but it seemed like he had a little bit of an issue dealing with the Neymars, the Mbappes of the world in that dressing room. So on the one hand, we have seen that Mauricio Pochettino, players seem to love him. He seems to be a fantastic man manager. He seems to be able to develop players in a really positive fashion, but we've never seen him with big time players. We've never seen him with a Neymar. We've never seen him with a marquee name in that locker room, in the dressing room that he has to manage and get under control. When he took over at Spurs, none of those players were what you'd call like a world star. He didn't have anyone like a Neymar and an Mbappe to disrupt the dressing room. It was very much like, oh, everyone's here to work and try and achieve something, not I've achieved it all and now you have to cater to me. That's a completely different situation that he was dealing with at Spurs that he now has to deal with at PSG. But again, we've seen that his players seem to love him. So that's going to be one thing that I'm really keeping an eye on. Another positive for Pochettino is he already played for PSG. We've got images of him in the shirt. He knows the hierarchy. He knows how the club works. He knows the city. He knows the culture. He knows the language. That's a massive one. I think the fact that he speaks Spanish. Obviously he's Argentine, and there's a lot of Spanish speakers in that dressing room. There are a lot of obviously French speakers in the dressing room. So him being able to already know the language, him having been a player and being very comfortable with those situations, only is going to be a positive for him. Now we have to talk about the negatives. He has never won a trophy as a manager. Never. He's come close. Champions League final. They put the pressure on, but Spurs never won anything with him. He has never, as a manager, won any major trophy. That's not necessarily a massive negative because of the way that he approached things with his teams. He made every single one of his teams better. He's never taken over a massive club. He's never been in the position to coach a favorite. So him not having a trophy, while it is a negative, yes, it is a tick against him. But I don't know if we can necessarily look at that as like, oh man, he's not a good manager. I don't think that's the thing. You could say he lacks a winning edge because he hasn't won a trophy. But from that perspective, his teams always are competitive. They're always getting better. So I think PSG will kind of look at that as a, we're going to get the trophies thing. I mentioned it before, but the inexperience in managing a dressing room with these types of personalities, I think is actually going to be the biggest issue. His training methods, we've heard a lot about how he loves to do like double sessions. He loves intense training. He really wants to make his players do the work. He likes to have his teams press. He likes to have them run a lot. That could present an issue. That could present an issue with players who make more money than the GDP of some small countries, not wanting to do the work in training, not wanting to run in training, not wanting to do double sessions, not wanting to put the type of effort, not just in matches with pressing and running in games, but in training to get to that point to build up the fitness base, the level of running that it's gonna take, or probably gonna take for someone to play for a Pochettino team, for what he wants out of his teams. That the training specifically and managing these massive personalities. What happens if Neymar's out of form and he wants to bench him? What happens if Neymar wants to go home for a vacation and he wants him to stay home and train? These are all things that really, really can tear a club apart. One of the biggest success stories recently has been Zinedine Zidane. And whatever your thoughts on Zinedine Zidane as a tactical manager, as an actual X's and O's coach, what he is fantastic at, and you can never ever take it away from him, is man management. I don't think there are many managers in this game that know how to deal with a dressing room, especially a dressing room full of massive egos, players who've won everything, like Zinedine Zidane. That's the example of, like, the high example of who does it the best, I think. But Mauricio Pochettino is walking into a situation where those players basically run the dressing room. PSG is a club where everyone has a whole lot of money. They don't really have a traditional setup where, like, the club is bigger than the players at this point. So it's going to be a weird situation for him to not necessarily hold the power, and how he deals with that, I think, will be the make or break for him at PSG. Overall, I think he'll be successful. Almost certainly he'll win league trophies. Almost certainly he'll win the French Cup. But the big test for him is, I don't necessarily think he has to win Champions League, at least not in his first year or two, but he has to make an incredible run. He has to make a really, really good run. He's got a little bit of leeway this first year, but if after next year, if he doesn't make a deep run in Champions League and look like winning that thing, then we're gonna start to see, is this the right job for him? Is he the right man for the job? But I do personally think he's the right man for the job. I think he's a really good coach, and I'm really interested to see what he does with PSG. So, game on.